Hi, everybody. This is Michigan Innovation Podcast, and we are so excited to have Abby McKiernan with us today, and she is with HelpLink. How you doing, Abby?
I am doing good. Thank you so much for having me out. It is a beautiful day, truly, today.
It really is. It's such a beautiful day in northern Michigan, and so we are so lucky to have Abby in here today. HelpLink, as you may or may not know, is an amazing not-for-profit that's really helping out a lot of people all over the United States. And we're going to get into that today. We're going to go into a deep dive into HelpLink. And we're also going to figure out a little bit about why and how Abby started it and a little bit about Abby. And that's where we always like to start is, so Abby, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in Traverse City, Michigan.
Yeah, so I actually started out in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, so middle of the state. I moved up to Traverse City alone when I was 15 and kind of started I used to vacation here occasionally. I had a friend that lived near the lake shore, and how do you resist once you know it exists?
Right.
So I ended up in Traverse City. Gosh, so I was 15 and now I'm 35. So it's been 20 years already.
Wow, that's a long time in Traverse City. You've probably seen a lot of changes.
It has been really cool to watch Traverse City grow, minus maybe the traffic.
Isn't
The
that the
only thing I
truth?
didn't love growing. But I actually just moved to Frankfurt in November, which was my vacation spot when I lived in Traverse City. So I just keep moving to all my favorite vacation
Yeah, Frankfurt's very, very beautiful.
Oh, and so calm and so peaceful and
Yeah. My
so
brother
community
lives in
driven.
Frankfurt. Yeah, and they have a couple of charter fishing boats there.
Oh, that's good to
Yeah,
know.
yeah, they really they get a lot of fish out of Lake Michigan. But that's a beautiful spot also in northern Michigan. And so you've been there for quite a few years, 20 years. And it sounds like you're a northern Michiganer now for keeps.
I am. You guys are stuck with me. I've had 4 children. Going on 4 here, and started 2 companies. So I think I'm pretty well rooted.
You certainly are. And so, well, let's get into your companies. With the beginning, I understand that you have Spark in the Dark as well as HelpLink. And so, how did you, what really gave you your heart for these nonprofits, and what is it about Abby that really wanted to begin these not-for-profits?
Yeah. So clarification. So Spark in the Dark is a nonprofit. HelpLink is a for-profit that helps nonprofits.
Okay.
But man, if you ask my mother, since I was a tiny little child, I have been this like wildly empathetic, all heart, sometimes no brain person that was on a mission to do good. I used to write her little love notes like, thanks for doing a
Aw.
great job, Mom. I really appreciate you. And so she used to pick on me that my bleeding heart was going to be the death of me. So I'll never forget the first time I had to get on a stage for a big luncheon and tell, right, my mother was there. She paid for a ticket, which I loved. It was like, you paid to see me talk about my bleeding heart and how it's helping the world. Like,
Oh my gosh.
2 things you told me were going to be my downfall, my love of talking and my bleeding heart.
Oh,
So I feel like sometimes you're just born with certain things in you, maybe.
yes,
Um,
yes.
and my what and my why have always been bringing people together and helping in times of need. And when I started Spark, I was coming out of oof, some life. I was experiencing some life. I usually call it a train going off a cliff with a dumpster fire inside. I was somewhere in that train.
Oh
It was a
man.
mess.
Oh man.
And I looked around and realized I didn't have anybody really to help me. And I didn't have anybody that I could call on, right? In a time of need, I was getting out of this bad relationship and looked around and went, oh my gosh, I have no support system. And so I went to a church group and had some really insightful conversations and thoughts around it, and went home and I started Spark. And I started it with 50 people thinking, I'm going to help, 5 or 6 people connect in their time of need. This person's going to ask for help when they need it, and this person's going to help when they need it. I woke up there 350 people
Wow.
overnight.
How did you
And
do that? So I'm going to break it down a little bit. So you yourself found yourself in a situation where you needed help. And because of that, you had the thought to create something that would have helped you out and will help others when they find themselves in that situation.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow. And so what were the elements of the spark in the dark in those early days?
Yeah. So I started on Facebook. So, and it still remains as a private Facebook group. And again, the goals were very simple, right? It was be kind, help when you can, don't come in if you can't, and just show up, right? No one knows what they can give until somebody asks for it. And you go, oh gosh, I've had that in my garage forever.
Okay.
Right. And so context, I had overheard a conversation at this church group that I was going to about this young woman who was, I don't know, maybe 20. She was so proud of herself. She was telling this woman she had never met this older woman about how, man, she had nothing to her name. She'd been sleeping in a car for, 6 months under a bridge, but she finally saved enough money to get her own apartment. So she's telling this woman, like, I don't need anybody. And I am sleeping on the floor of this new apartment with a coat as a blanket and whatever. I did it all by myself. So she was so proud. And this woman had responded, and I think it probably threw me off as much as this girl. She said, I've had a bed set in my garage for years. Keep saying I'm going to sell it. I never do. I'm going to have my husband bring it over. Where do you live? And this like
Oh,
super strong, proud girl just starts bawling.
aw.
I mean, just full tears, crying. And this girl has said, my friends and my family have all given up on me. Nobody's been willing to help me. Why are you? I don't even know
Wow.
you.
Right.
And this woman responded with, well, because I can.
Wow.
And that was it. And that was the whole thing. And I remember thinking, well, that was almost comically easy. You weren't using it. You needed it. Look how well it
Bam.
works.
Oh, that's a great
So cool,
story.
right? And
So simple,
so simple.
but so impactful.
I mean, truly.
Impactful.
So I woke up with the plan of like, oh, I think I could recreate that on the internet with the
Okay.
right set of people. And so that was the original, the OG 50, if you will.
Right.
Woke up, they had all invited their friends because they liked the concept. Everybody they
Right.
thought needed help was asking for help and vice versa, which is always how it goes. We think we know everything until we know nothing. And so, yeah, so 350 people, that would have been in 2016. We became a nonprofit in 2017. We have 30,000 members and growing by
In
15%
Spark in the Dark?
in Spark in the Dark across
Wow.
Michigan.
30,000 members on your Facebook group in Spark in the Dark. That
And
is fantastic. And is it still the premise of putting it out there, what is needed, and other people providing what they have to those needs?
yes, ma'am. It is still pretty dang close to how I built it originally. And we actually got to cross, I'm like truly genuinely humbled to say we crossed the 100,000 need met mark this year
Oh,
earlier
wow.
in the year.
Isn't
So
that amazing? Oh, I could
like,
just
isn't that
hug
cool?
you, Abby. That's such great news.
It is a really cool reality.
Uh-huh.
And it obviously has spun into HelpLink, which has been also incredible and has helped hundreds of people already. And how cool is it that I get to just be a professional do-gooder?
Excellent, excellent. Wow. And I have to say that that is so innovative. Let's talk a little bit about the innovation in Spark in the Dark. Even though it's quite simple, we have other not-for-profit organizations that have been around for a long time, like the United Way and other places. How would you differentiate yourself from those other organizations?
Yeah, I got to tell you, when we rolled this all out in 2017, I would love to tell you it was widely accepted. It was not. The community widely accepted it, but I think there was a lot of struggle at this idea of just letting anybody ask for anything when they needed it.
Right,
And
right,
we have essential needs, so you can't go ask for flat screen TV or Christmas lights, things like that. But for the most part, we very much run in this kind of glass castle honor system of, you know, we'll help you until you prove that you need something beyond us and you need more screening. Right.
right, right.
So I think when it comes to like United Way and Salvation Army and organizations like that, where you usually have to walk in and sit down in a room and kind of explain your situation and show the bills and right and really go through.
Justify your need.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
exactly it.
Right.
And we really don't do that. I mean,
Mhm.
right. I will warn everybody, just for the record. Your mother, your significant other, and your best friend are the first three people to tell on you if you are doing something that is below bar.
Right.
Every time, those are the people that report you. So watch
Right.
out for your three closest ones.
Right, right. Well, it's important that they come to this organization with sincere needs.
Exactly.
And it needs to be a real issue. And I think you probably are happy that you're not encumbered with all of those barriers to giving that come when you get really organized and a lot of governance is involved. And those things can limit the enthusiasm that you have when you want to help people. And so, how many people work with you at Spark in the Dark?
Yeah. In touching on that, right, and the governance part of it, I will agree with you where it's a heavy burden to have to feel like you need to judge somebody's needs.
Oh, right.
Right. Suddenly you feel like you're playing God.
Yeah.
And it's right. And who am I rather to decide if you are worthy of shoes?
Sure.
Right. Or of clothing, or who am I to decide that you don't really need gas to get to work? You're just lying. That's way too much pressure for me and my team. So we avoid it altogether. And again, until you misbehave, like we trust you. Because I think humanity is just better for that. So
excellent.
So yeah, so we have actually 15 volunteer administrators across the state. There's 5 groups. There's a 45-mile radius for each individual Facebook group. Traverse City, of course, being the flagship. Mount Pleasant, Manistee, Wexford, Misaki, and Lansing. So we're kind of straight down the freeway, really.
Fantastic.
And we've got 15 volunteers that show up every day and and check the needs and make sure conversations are healthy and productive and delete comments and, get yelled at occasionally.
And it's all on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh,
fantastic.
Well, and now on HelpLink as well. So we use the
HelpLink
HelpLink
as well.
platform
Right.
to get some of the Spark needs met faster.
Oh, nice. Nice. And so now we're going to, it's okay with you. Let's jump into HelpLink. So my understanding, we've got Spark in the Dark, which is really, I will call that a consumer to consumer, like a
peer-to-peer resource.
Peer-to-peer resource. Like that nice story you said, we've got this lady who had a bed in her garage. We had a young person. I don't think she was a mother. She was a single young lady who was trying to make it on her own and very proud, sounds like. And she ended up letting kind of telling her story. And because of that conversation, we had these 2 individuals that help one another, and you're facilitating that across the state. Fantastic. Now that's Spark in the Dark. Let's dovetail over into what is HelpLink and how is it like or unlike Spark in the Dark?
Yeah, absolutely. So HelpLink definitely, I feel like, spun out of what I was doing with Spark in the Dark, because what was happening, I just did this number recently and realized since 2017, I don't want you to spit out your coffee, because I feel like when I took a drink and realized that I almost spit out my coffee, I have literally reviewed over 140,000 needs.
Wow.
2017. My eyeballs have seen 140,000 plus needs over the course of this last 7 years, which
wow.
my brain can't quite grab on.
That's
bunch.
amazing.
That's
147,
100.
140,000 needs. And that's in the 4 or 5 regions that you described.
So that's
Wow.
just needs I have seen and reviewed and either declined or approved, right? And
Yeah.
so I've got a whole brain full of what's going on and what the needs are and what needs aren't being met and what needs are most common. And so in all of that, I realized that so often, I would say probably 30% of the needs that get asked for, if I had to take an educated guess, probably 30% of the needs that go through Spark were based on I need gas to get to work. My car broke down. I can't get to work. My tire is flat. Can somebody pick me up so I don't lose my job? Right. Everything was around work and was around this idea of needing help either getting employed or staying employed. And it was a huge problem.
Right.
But what was happening was people would get on there and say, gosh, I just need $100 to make it to work this week, right? I just got this new job, or I just got a job as a CNA or whatever, and I need scrubs, but I can't afford them.
Awesome.
So I can't
Yeah.
go to work because I can't pay for
Because they have been unemployed for a while.
Right. And it's $100 to one person is
right.
nothing.
And to you can get the job, but can you do the job without the right clothing or transportation to the location? So they're coming into Spark asking, you're saying 30% of the 140,000 needs had to do with work issues.
Right.
Okay.
Something related, and maybe it's more than that. I'm being conservative just to be safe here.
Right, right.
But it was one of those things where previous to Spark in the Dark, previous to HelpLink, I was always in kind of the white collar business world, right? I was dealing with retention and turnover and all of these struggles as a company of like, man, I spent 3 months trying to hire for this position, and then that guy didn't show up. What the heck?
Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I had this kind of whole history.
I've had that too. You recruit, finally get the ideal candidate, they're hired, and then where are they?
They don't show up. It's probably because they're on the side of the road, stressed out that they can't show up.
Right.
But we have this weird misconception that it's because they're lazy or they don't want to work, and that's why they didn't. In my experience, and again, 30,000 people, 140,000 needs, that is rarely the case. It is rarely that somebody doesn't want to show up because they can't show up.
Wow.
And so every time I'd see these needs come through, I would think, man, if only that company knew.
Right.
If only they knew that $50 is the reason that this person isn't showing up after they've spent $10,000
in recruiting them. Right.
What? Like, there's just this funny disconnect because nobody's talking.
Yeah.
And who the heck wants a new job or even as a current employee to walk in to their manager, say, I can't pay my electric bill this month.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry I was late, but I couldn't pay my electric bill or I couldn't take a shower because my water was shut off.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No,
that's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's hard, and you're going to get fired.
Right. You want to really show that you're capable and competent, and those realistic issues that happen when you first get employed, they're hard to hide.
Exactly. And it's embarrassing. And again, you don't realize that this company probably needs you as much as you need them.
Yes.
There's right. And just humans, right? I'm prideful. I'll never forget actually, like in 2021, again, my life was not the best it's ever been. We were having some hiccups. I ended up with a very large house after a divorce that was not, fitting to my income, if you will. I needed 2 incomes. Things kept breaking. And I went downstairs one day. This is after I fractured my foot chasing a duck. Oh, true story. After a miscarriage, after a divorce, after 100
piling on.
Yes, holy cow. Yeah. Man. It never ended. And I went downstairs one day and my basement was flooded with water. The paint was bubbling up.
Oh God.
And I was filled with water. I was like, all right, I see you 2021, right? Like, what's going to happen? And I remember this moment. I'm running this incredibly successful organization. And I'm looking around going, oh my God, I have no community again. Because I put myself in this position where I'm like terrified to ask for help, because should I ask for help? Because I'm leading this group and I'm this figure, and like, what am I going to do?
Wow. And isn't that amazing?
So I built this thing for me
Oh, I'm
I
gonna
didn't
cry.
think I
This
could
is something.
use.
Oh my gosh.
And then I realized how ridiculous that is because for that time, that 5 years, I had been preaching about everybody needs help sometimes and
Well,
nobody is immune.
right. And it's just amazing. And all I can think about is God right now and how, he said, in my opinion, is like, I'm gonna, I'm gonna fix this issue and I know how I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna give it to Abby as a problem and then she'll figure it out.
She's going to figure it out.
She's gonna figure it out. Oh my gosh.
And so
That is so
it
touching.
was this moment of like
Oh my gosh.
weakness where I felt like, I don't know if I can ask for help. That's going to be so embarrassing, right?
Yeah,
It's
that's right.
embarrassing that everyone sees me as this certain thing. And now here I am unable to fix a
Oh
foundation.
my gosh.
And so I ended up swallowing my pride, which was one of the harder things I've ever
Isn't
done.
that hard? I know how hard it
Post
can
in
be.
Spark saying
Yeah.
like, hey, can anyone just come? No, I didn't even fully ask for help. I totally I was like, can somebody just come look and tell me how bad this is going to be? Because the one thing insurance companies don't pay for is foundations.
Oh, really?
So a foundation leak is worst case scenario. It's usually around $10,000
Oh.
to fix. I didn't have $100 at the time, right? Because
Right.
medical bills and all this stuff. And so somebody comes over whom I knew in the past that I had actually helped a few years previous. So he came over and he worked for a company, a foundation company. And so he came in his off time to just look for me. Came and said, listen, I'll come over. I'll do it on the weekend for you for a lot cheaper, right? I'll help you. I won't charge you $10,000. Thank goodness. Now we didn't talk about how much he was going to charge me. I was so scared. I was like, but I have to do
You
it.
have
I
to get
can't,
it
I
fixed.
can't water.
It's not something you can,
I can't,
you gotta trust.
I can't just close my eyes.
Go forward and trust.
Right. So he came over that weekend and this man carried concrete up and down my basement stairs for 7 hours because the whole process is you got to go against the wall. You got to chip up and break 2 foot worth of, distance from your wall to out and then do all kinds of, I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. I understand why it's $10,000. Truly. It's so much work.
Yeah.
And this man's all day doing it away from his wife and his child. Comes up at the end and I'm like, all right. Like, I'm ready. Like, how much is this going to cost? I'm so thankful to you. You're an angel, right? I'll take that.
No idea.
That's $75. What? He charged me $75 because that's what it cost to buy the tubes and the rocks.
Oh my
in the
gosh.
concrete.
Oh my gosh.
And I am a mess. And suddenly,
Oh
ready
my
for this full
gosh.
circle moment, my response to him was, well, why? You don't know me, right?
Oh.
Same as 2016
Oh,
when I watched
right,
this woman.
right. And you were like the same
I was her
yes.
all over again.
And he was because I can.
Oh, it was so much better than
Oh
that.
my
Ready?
gosh, what?
His answer was, well, because in 2019, I don't know if you remember, but you gave us baby clothes and food. Like I had lost my job because of COVID. So it was 2020. I had lost my job because of COVID and everything was shut down. I couldn't feed my family. He's like, you fed my family.
Oh
for
my
me.
gosh.
It's like, oh,
Oh, Abby.
like
Abby, what a
story.
Oh, what an important
Such
story and what an
essence.
impact.
And so turning that back into HelpLink, right? There's this
Right.
idea of like not wanting to ask for help because we're so, and it's so
Yeah.
hard to do. And
Yeah.
we want to do good work and we want to show up to our jobs and we want to do these things and people judge us.
Yeah.
They think that we got it all put together.
Right.
Most people don't have it all put
No.
together. Fun little secret.
That's really true.
And so when we started HelpLink, this goal was
Wow.
like, how can we make it so that people can ask for help in times of need
Mm-hmm.
without losing their dignity, without
Right.
losing their respect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how can we let their companies know? Because the companies need them and they want them.
That's right.
And they want to be needed.
And so how do you do that?
And so my incredible business partner, Dan,
Mm-hmm.
built the software that I can't even begin to fathom or understand the back end of. I just say, hey, Dan, can you make it look like this? And he grumbles at me and he makes it better than I could have ever imagined. And so the way HelpLink works is you are still just like Spark in the Dark. You're able to go in and post an essential need item, gas for work. We've seen a lot of those actually, clothing, diapers, anything you can think of, any roadblocks, right? In
Right.
life.
Right.
You're able to go in and post for those. And then it gets picked up by a sponsoring nonprofit. So Spark in the Dark does a lot of that, of course.
Okay.
Like Or, for example, addiction treatment services, kind of a company where we'll help anyone
Oh,
that's recovering with addiction, and then they'll pick them up.
wow.
Riley's Candles, who I'm sure you've met, Mr.
Yes.
Josh Hart.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's so great. I love
He
that.
actually just Riley's Candles just onboarded with HelpLink to help a woman who needs a vet bill paid, right?
Uh-huh.
And so Riley's Candles sponsored this dog's need as a vet bill, and now people can donate to it.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's how it works from a
Wow.
nonprofit people standpoint, which
Uh-huh.
is so cool. We've actually already, I think, I want to say around $14,000 has come through the app so far. We've helped around 250 people, I think,
Mhm.
which is still, I mean, we're in our infancy yet. So,
HelpLink is in its infancy.
yeah.
When did you start HelpLink?
We've been building it for a long time, but we've been actually talking about it and doing it for probably 6 months or so.
Oh, it's pretty new.
Yeah, it's a baby company.
It is a baby company.
And it's doing great.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And so from a corporate standpoint, what we started doing was we realized we had a cool opportunity to really plug them in. And so companies are actually able to take a certain amount of money every single month. Say, I'm going to donate $1,000 a month, and I want it to go to needs in this area or to this nonprofit or to these, right, to this kind of demographic. I want to help single moms or veterans. So it's all corporate giving. It's all going through these nonprofits.
All corporate giving.
All corporate giving, all going through these nonprofits. But what's awesome is if any employee in their system that's connected to them, if any employee posts a need, their money goes to them first.
Oh, fabulous.
So if I post that I have an electric bill, or we actually just had one that was a car payment where her employer is donating, right, every single month to the platform.
Right.
That need goes there, or that money goes there first.
Okay, because she works there.
Because she works there, and she's connected to them through this app.
That's amazing.
So she might have went and asked Spark in the Dark for help, but it's actually going to be her company that helps her, which she's going to see. So what a cool way to make everybody work together.
And what a way to build community. You're really building, there's no big wall between corporate and the people. Right. And then there's not a wall, and their employees, and extending it out to other people as well. Wow, that is a really an innovative idea. I've never heard of that idea before. And it's also extremely, it really shrinks the problem down to problem, solution, fix, rather than, waiting and waiting and waiting. What do we do? How can we help? The people themselves are self-identifying. Right. They self-identify that they have a need, and then the need is met. How are you reaching the corporations?
One phone call at a time. Literally one door knock at a time. Obviously, having these kinds of conversations, we work with Michigan Chamber of Commerce. We're having a lot of conversations with these kind of big associations.
How are they receiving your ideas? Are they receptive? Are they speculative? Are they skeptical? Or how do they receive you?
It's funny, both ways. In fact, I think I just did a LinkedIn video 2 days of my frustration of like, if nothing is changing, it's because you're not doing anything differently, right?
Right.
Try something new. So we've had this kind of mixed bag of companies, I'll be frank with you, where Plascon, for example, and Cherry Republic, big companies up here in the north, have been so excited and so on board and like, yes, let's do this. What a great idea. But then I had a company yesterday ask me like, well, what will my accountant think? I'm like, hey, you are doing good. I don't know what your books look like, right? Like suggesting that maybe
that's right.
We were doing something below bar, which is not the case.
No, and it's definitely something. If I guess the accountant would only want to know, where do I write it off on our taxes? I mean, that's the answer, right? The accountant will now be able to offset your profits so that you will be able to make more money and not pay as much in taxes. That's the answer.
I was like, it's just a charitable donation. And it's still going to all of these nonprofits. It's the cool part is it's just taking money that you're already donating.
Yes.
Right. Instead of you writing a $5,000 check and mailing it off and getting a newsletter at the end of the year telling you where it's going.
Well, the thing that comes to my mind with that is I would say that every corporation has corporate social responsibility, and you'll see that on their website. And so, and I'm not sure if you've even leveraged this idea, is to say that in their annual report or in their on their website, they can say that through their corporate social responsibility, part of their give back to society is HelpLink, and how that is and really because a lot of times companies don't know what to put. It's wonderful if they donate to things like the United Way and other organizations that are well known, but it's also very cool to see new and innovative ways that people can and corporations can make a difference in their own community.
Well, and not only did we think about it, I gave you a whole donor dashboard. I mean, you can download statements of giving instantly. You get a report saying that your $20,000.
Well, where can I see an example of these reports?
So you'll be able to go into the app, and then we've also got some stuff on the website coming out that shows.
Excellent. So,
But I mean, you can quite literally, I mean, it's not, oh, we gave $20,000. We think it went to this. It was, we gave $20,000. $102 went to this single mom in Northern Michigan. $58 of it went to work shoes. I mean, there is no question as to where any single penny of your money went and to what
awesome.
nonprofit.
Wow.
So
And what geography, what zip code?
what demographic, how many lives were impacted based on household size,
Oh,
everything.
everything's big data. The data
Everything's about data.
today's about big data and what are we doing with that data? And then think about what you can do with artificial intelligence against that data to help prevention
Right.
and jump out in front of these problems before they even begin. But that's probably another podcast.
That whole other one. Well, it's interesting. I think sometimes companies, and I mean, I'm speculating here, but I think it's probably true of all of us on an individual and on a company running level. We don't always realize, right? So when I write a $5,000 check to Women's Resource Center as a business owner, I don't necessarily realize that one of those women they're helping is likely an employee. My brain doesn't do that.
We don't
math.
connect those dots.
Right.
It's like them, us.
Right. And they're like, oh, I'm helping this charity and this charity is helping people. But at no point do we realize like, oh, I wonder how many of my employees are in domestic violence situations or need diapers. Right.
Right.
So I think the biggest kind of hurdle we're getting over is explaining to these companies that you're still writing the check, so to speak, although automatically through the app to these nonprofits that you've always loved and helped. We're just making sure that your employees are benefiting first, because frankly, without your employees, then you don't have a company and
right.
you can't write that check in the first place.
Right. And the
right.
full circle.
It's kind of full circle of like, no, you're still donating to the same places, to the same causes. You're just making it really personal.
Right.
And there's not a lot of personal in giving anymore.
That's right. That's right. So how are you community building, having that 30,000 people? That's a lot of people in a Facebook group. How did you build that community?
This is like the cheesiest answer in the world, but it's true of Spark and it's true of HelpLink, right? Is we're leading by example, right?
Oh my gosh,
we are truly, again, I will be perfectly candid that I built this based out of, my experiences through a church group and in kind of my love and devotion to religion. Not that you necessarily need that to show up, but to me, I want to be the hands and feet. I don't want to be the voice, right? Like, wow. And so when you're building something,
what do you mean by that? I want to be the hands and feet and not the voice. What does that really mean? Can you break that down for me?
Yeah, that's in the sense of it's really easy to talk a big game. Everybody talks a lot.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And
they call that a word salad these days.
All right. A word salad is often served, especially by, I think, sometimes tech companies who are like, oh, we're in it to build the community and do. No, they're usually not.
Right.
Right. And so when I built Spark and when Dan and I, my business partner, built HelpLink, the first question we always ask is, how is this helping others? Are we on point with our mission? Because if we're not, then we're doing it wrong, right? If we're in it for money, if we're in it for notoriety, if we're in it to be on more podcasts and interviews, and we're in it for Facebook to buy us out in 5 years, then we're in it for the wrong reason.
Right.
And I think people are really smart, and even if you don't know it, you can feel it. I can't remember for the life of me who did the study. I want to say it was Harvard, Stanford, someone like that did this study where they played clips of people laughing. I mean, it was literally a 2-second clip of people laughing. Some of them were true, like authentic, conversations where somebody was laughing, and some were contrived, like fake laughing. 2 seconds is how long it took 93% of the participants to realize which one was fake.
Wow.
They had no reason to know or understand why. There was no video, 2 seconds of audio, and they went, nope, those are the fake
perception. That everyone's so perceptive.
Right. And I think we're instinctually designed to see when something.
So you are authentic. Right. You're very authentic, and that drove your community so large. So how do you, let's say that you see a need in Detroit. How would you decide to go to a new community? It sounds like you've been growing. How do you go to that next community with Spark in the Dark, or that next community with HelpLink? How do you, what's the trigger to, okay, it's time to go grow new and go somewhere new?
Yeah. So for Spark in the Dark, it was the reason we were able to build several other communities is we actually received this kind of crazy Facebook accelerator participation in I want to say it was 2020.
Was it a Facebook project?
So Facebook, the company like Meta, put out a call saying like, we're just looking for change makers, whether you're a nonprofit or for-profit, whether you're on social media, you're not on social media, like we're just looking for change makers in communities. We want to hear how you want to change your community. And then we want to pick a certain amount of you and give you 6 months of guidance, essentially. And so I, on a whim, sent in this 3-minute video thing and like, oh, okay, Facebook's not going to want to hang out with me. Turns out they did.
Oh, that's a great story.
One of 77 organizations worldwide, one of 14 in North America that were chosen for this out of thousands and thousands of participants. So Facebook spent 6 months training us, giving us funding, helping us launch these new groups. So we kind of chose communities based on connections, based on what I would call dead zones of resources, where I was like, there's a lot of need and not a lot of help.
Okay.
And so we launched there in those communities. And then at the end of the whole 6 months, you got to pitch Facebook again. Say, hey, Facebook, like, here's what we did with your money. Here's what we want to do next. Here's who we are. With 3 minutes. I can't say my name in 3 minutes. It's going to take me an hour on a podcast to even get through 30% of my thoughts and feelings. And so I did it 3 minutes. We were one of 4 of 77 to get more funding and help from Facebook.
Wow, I had no idea.
Oh, it was such a cool experience. I actually helped them write their community manager training programs.
Oh, Abby, this is such a cool story.
By this kind of idea of authenticity.
So yes, and so I just have to say that in innovation, I have this class called Innovation Mastery, and it's a 5-module class, and module 2 is Big Brother, Little Brother alliances, and how small business, whether it's not for profit or for profit, leverage big brothers to help you grow. And so that's the story you're telling me, is about a Big Brother, Little Brother alliance. Absolutely. Where Facebook targeted a small but a very innovative startup. And because you met their criteria, they decided that they would make you their little brother, in my vernacular. Yep. So
that was really it.
That's so important for any growth organization. I've been encouraged some of the people up at Oops to leverage Big Brother, Little Brother alliances as well, because they have deep pockets and they want to do good. And so I've never heard of anybody in my experience that have leveraged that with Meta or Facebook. And I'm so eager. I'm going to pick your brain on that one a lot, and maybe even make you a case study for my class.
Because I could be a case study for a lot of things.
That is a huge case study for Big Brother, Little Brother alliances. Yeah. I did one between Blue Buffalo and PetSmart.
Oh.
That story's fascinating, big brother, little brother.
Understood.
Well, the little brother at the time was Blue Buffalo dog food,
Yeah.
Blue Buffalo. And now it totally flipped
I was
because
gonna say, what?
big brother, bigger now is Blue Buffalo
Yeah.
than PetSmart. But back in the day, PetSmart was the big brother to Blue Buffalo. And if it weren't for that alliance, and now it's flipped itself on its head.
Fingers crossed on that.
I know, isn't that funny?
I would love that for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's very cool.
isn't that cool?
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah,
Or
it's
you're
on
just telling me.
YouTube. Yeah, it's
Oh.
on YouTube. Yeah, it's on my channel.
So when we built HelpLink, the goal was to scale it without needing a mega chunk of money like Facebook, who
Mhm.
did so much for us, taught us so much in that 9 months or so. But
Right.
so HelpLink is actually nationwide. If there's a need in Detroit that gets posted, and we have a nonprofit in Detroit that can meet it, or Spark in the
Mhm.
Dark will pick it
Mhm.
up, because
Mhm.
we help, again, we don't spend a lot of time building criteria around who's in need. And the
Right.
database does, the way that Dan built HelpLink is so good at doing a lot of the things that I do manually now, that HelpLink will probably scale more than
Because
Spark
you've got
will.
the infrastructure to scale
Well,
now.
we do you can only ask for 12 needs per year, and you can only have 4 active per month. And anytime you ask for something, there's rankings, and how that money flows is all categorized on the backside. And so you can't really, you could abuse the system, anything is possible, but it is exceptionally difficult based on how Dan built that software to be a bad actor.
Whoa.
Right. And so we've really built it in a way that the needs you're seeing, and the people that are asking for the help, right, and the things they are asking for, and the fact that you're even seeing them in, the hundreds of needs you see, I think 50 at a time, just that alone, right, and the way that's built, like, you are giving to someone that has been vetted, at least to some capacity, who has not gotten a lot of help, who really is genuinely in need of the help, right? So we have built it in a way that, like, it's hard to abuse, so that you, as a donor, whether you're a business owner and you're a business donating, or you're just Rose who wants to give $20 to somebody in need, your money is being well spent, right?
Fantastic.
It's going to people that need it.
So how can the people that are watching this podcast help you? Let's say that I'm a business owner and I want to learn more about how to get involved with HelpLink. What should I do if I'm a business owner and I want to get involved with HelpLink?
Yep. So you're going to go to helplink.org. Yeah.
The end.
Click businesses.
And click
self-identify, and then it's as much as you can email me, you can call me. I'm happy to meet you and do that. But to get started on HelpLink, if you're a business that says, I want to donate $1,000 and I want my employees to come first, then all right, it takes quite literally 10 minutes, if you're bad at technology, 10 minutes to set up your profile from beginning to end, and to start helping your employees. And it's free for companies. Like, we don't charge companies anything to do this.
Awesome. And so then there, like the question you had from the accounting perspective, then they receive, does HR or who gets these reports? Do they get them on their own? Do they seek out those, result reports, or do you automatically ship them to them, or how does that work?
So it's all actually held within the app itself. So you've got you got your donor dashboard that shows you where your money is going. Then you can print out your statement of giving. You can print out your impact reports. I even made it pretty so that you could just mail it directly if you wanted to.
Awesome.
My marketing background can help it. And I was like, well, we're already here. I'm not going to give you an Excel sheet.
Right.
So, I mean, truly everything exists within that. It is access anytime of the day. If you have other admins, right? So you sign up, but you need 4 other people to run it and manage it alongside you. You literally send them a text message with a link.
Okay.
Once you're signed up, we send you a perfectly crafted email that you email out to all of your employees. They click a link, they walk through I think it's like a 3-minute start video to sign up to identify as your employee. Boom, now they're in the system. I mean, it could literally take you 30 minutes or less to have your whole team like on board and rocking and rolling.
Fabulous. Wow, what a great and easy solution to a very big problem. So I wanted to ask you one last question, Abby. about just the Michigan innovation culture. Can you give me an idea of how you feel about really starting a new business in Northern Michigan? And, what's it like to start a business in Michigan? And uniquely, how was it starting a not-for-profit business? What are the challenges, and how did how's Michigan helping you out? That kind of thing.
Uh, I haven't lived anywhere else, so I can't necessarily speak to what it might be like to start a company in LA or Chicago or fill in the blank. But what I will say that I think is unique, especially to Northern Michigan, is that people want to help you. They want to be on your side, right? They
Mhm.
want to lift you up. They want to support you. They want to introduce you to your friend, right? And so I think it's such a warm and friendly culture in our area, especially, but I would say all of Michigan, that I can't imagine having tried to do this in somewhere like Chicago or LA or somewhere bigger, right? Or even a bigger state like New York. Michigan wants to help, right? Like, does that
Yes.
make sense? Like I
Yes.
met,
The
you know,
culture is very unique and very nurturing.
yeah, like I met Traverse Connect, who then connected me to the Labor of Economic Development. Oh, wait, no,
Michigan.
Labor of Economy and Opportunity.
Oh, right.
Leo. I just call them Leo. I can
Leo,
never, I was
right.
just saying, I can never remember their acronym. But Traverse,
Alphabet soup.
exactly. So Traverse connected me to Leo, and then Leo connected me to the Michigan Chamber of Commerce and to the Michigan Manufacturers Association. And it's so funny because I met one, for example, one kind of government related human in Leo, and then suddenly my calendar for a week and a half was government based entities because he was
Right.
like, "Oh, you've got to meet this person and that person and these
Isn't
people."
it great? Now
The
you're going to
Michigan
make me cry
Founders
again.
Fund,
Oh,
like,
yeah, they are amazing. Oh,
and
yeah.
it's not like you meet with them and they're super nice to your face and they're, super encouraging, and then you never talk. Oh no,
They follow through.
they check up on you, they follow through. It might be a month, it might be a day, but a week later they're, connecting you to somebody else.
Yeah.
Or a business is calling you and saying, "Hey, I heard about you through so and so." And how stinking cool is that?
That is
Like,
amazing. And
I
I
don't
know
know
that
long
I
places.
actually met you at a OOPS meeting, and that's the Office of Opportunity
Yeah,
out of NMC and Common
yeah,
Place
yeah.
with Will Kitchen
Yeah,
and Nick.
that's so Nick actually helped me. Funny enough, in the Facebook accelerator, that's how I met Nick. Is I recruited him to go through that 6 months of training with me because he's so smart and
Super
he's such a
smart.
community builder. And we
Yes.
somehow met in another context. And I was like, "Hey, Nick, you want 6 months of training from Facebook? Like, help me,
Awesome.
help me do this." And I love that he's in Oops now. But yeah, like meeting with Will, who introduced me to so many people.
Right.
And I mean, I just can't really say enough good things
Nice.
about their connectors. I'm a connector. We have
Yeah.
that in common, right? I'm
Yeah.
connecting different things, but it's
Mhm.
just really cool that on your very long entrepreneur days, you asked me what it's like to be an entrepreneur in general. There are so many long days, right? There are
Oh,
so
long
many
days. And
like
sometimes it can get so lonely. And
the
when
longest.
you're bootstrapping and you're looking at customer needs, and you hear a lot of stories, and I have to say that the things you probably hear with these 140,000 needs, probably your heart's probably been broken a few times just listening
Every day.
to some of the things people need. And I just want you to know I'm here for you. And I know everyone that I've met that with you through Oops and others, we're here for you as well. So what an amazing story. People out there on the internets, please keep an eye on Abby. I'm definitely going to have her back to talk about the next, in about a year or so, I hope, to find out how HelpLink has grown. And remember, if you're interested in working with HelpLink, it's helplink.org. And I'm sure Abby will be definitely there. Any last words?
If you're just a person watching, right? I say this to everybody for Spark, HelpLink, and
Oh,
otherwise,
right,
you never know who you can help, right?
right.
Go to like, go to the app, go to, helplink.org, go look through the needs. I feel confident that you have something that you, even if
Oh,
you're not a company with
yeah.
100 employees or 5,000 employees or someone that's got, $20,000 in the bank, you would be amazed. I helped somebody meet, funny enough, he needed adult clothing, like he needed work clothes. You know how much I donated to finish off that need? $7.76.
Oh, wow.
Because somebody, 3 or 4 other people had paid the rest. Like,
Awesome.
maybe you want to donate $100, but $5 is a lot too. Right?
It is a
It
lot.
is a lot.
And one of the things that I totally believe in, that is the secret to living, is giving. And
Amen.
when you give, that comes back a zillionfold. And so what a great way to round this off. And so with that, we're going to close out today's Michigan Innovation Podcast. Thank you very much, Abby.
Thanks for having me, Rose.
Okay, bye everybody.